Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you are having a wonderful May. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I am having a wonderful, very pollen-filled May. Today I am super excited to be bringing to you a recent launch, one of the few launches that we got to see in 2020 that has just expanded on in 2021 and continues to grow here in 2022. It's from a brand probably everybody knows, that is Paul Mitchell. So Paul Mitchell has been kind of a mainstay, a staple in the hair care world since I think about the 1980s, but they have launched a new segment that we have an educator coming to share with you. The guest that I have coming on live with me today is from Washington. In 2017, he was given a leadership award from Paul Mitchell as well as a People's Choice for educators. So he's a very exciting educator, and I can't wait to share all of his knowledge with all of you. Let's welcome to our show, Toby Price. Hi.
Thank you very much. Hi, Allison. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. Where are you coming from?
So I'm Washington State, north of Seattle. I always have to clarify because you get, across the mid-country and they're like, DC? No, Washington State.
Washington
Got to
State.
clarify.
I mean, I'm in California, so I always have to clarify, not LA, or I'm more like Oregon, less like California, that kind of area that I always get stuck cleaning up too.
Exactly, yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So how many years have you been doing hairdressing, if you don't mind? Like, what kind of experience do you have?
Well, legally, I've been doing hair for 22 years. Before that, my cat, my dog, my brother, that sort of thing. But 22 years licensed hairdresser. I was a learning leader kind of early on in my career for about 4 years. I've been educating for Paul Mitchell for about 17, international educator for the last 15 years, salon owner, work behind the chair, a little bit of everything.
That's amazing. What drew you to Paul Mitchell? I mean, of all the brands that you could work for, what stood out about Paul Mitchell that took you there?
Yeah, when I first got into the industry, I didn't know. Well, let me share a quick story. So just picture with me a long day of work. We get done, like you said, May's hitting you hard with allergies. You get home from work, and we just like to sometimes just sit down and relax for a minute, right? Just take a load off and sit down. And very seldom do we think about that chair supporting us. We're just like, yep, sitting down, and there we go, and that feels good, right? But if we had to think about every single chair before we sat down, like, is it going to support me? Is it going to support me? Like, that would be really frustrating in life. So for me, when I got into the industry, I was like, all right, well, here I go. I don't know anything about this industry. I'm just going to go for it. And I was like, I need some people to support me. I need people, I need company, I need product. And so I started hunting, and I realized I had an opportunity to go to a Paul Mitchell event, and right away I saw 3 areas that they supported. And one was me personally, as a stylist, as a consumer, even using the product. 2 was a business owner, salon owner, and 3 was just globally how they supported. So I love that they supported me helping my guests look and feel their best. They supported me helping my team help their guests look and feel their best. And they also supported me through giving back. And I knew, like, early on as a stylist, early on as a salon owner, I didn't have the extra money to be like, oh, I want to help this, and I want to, replant trees, and I want to do all these things for the environment. But Paul Mitchell said, if you buy our products, we'll do this. We'll give back for you. And so it gave me this like step up to get rolling. And then as time went, and then I had the revenue, I can do it as well as them still doing that for me. So that was the big reason that drew me into Paul Mitchell.
I love that. That is such a, one of those things that we all take for granted for, just like your analogy with the chair of how all-encompassing support for a stylist is, because most stylists are either, a renter or they run their own business, or that's a very common practice, and it is such a cool and unique thing about Paul Mitchell.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I, as I kind of went on too, like looking at products and realizing you start to see it. We had a campaign for a while called Behind the Bottle, just because, Paul Mitchell doesn't run around being like, look what we do, and even now when it's, I hate to say it, but trendy to take care of the planet, trendy to take care of things, even though we should be. Paul Mitchell's like, hey, we haven't been testing on animals since day one, 1980. Hey, we've been taking care of the planet, but we just didn't scream it from the rooftop. So I've always loved that.
Right. It's philanthropic to be humble about it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's dive into what we're here to talk about today. You're introducing us to Paul Mitchell's new segment, the Clean Beauty segment. Gorgeous, yes. Right here in front of us.
Yeah, so Clean Beauty, what I love, like what I just mentioned about that support coming in, I think about, for me as a stylist, one of the things that I want to know from my guests is how they describe their hair. So when you look at this layout of products in front of you, it's one big category, but it's broken down into subcategories. And I ask my guests every time they sit in my chair, describe the condition of your hair to me. Because I can sit down and say, oh, your hair's dry, you need moisture. But sometimes that comes across a little harsh. But if I say, Allison, describe your hair to me, and you say, it's been feeling a little dry lately, and I just feel like it's maybe a little frizzy because of that. And I can say, well, Allison, because it's dry, because you said it's dry, I recommend Hydrate. Now I can move into these categories. So when we talk about these products, now I'm providing a solution to your challenge, opposed to you need to try this new product. So as a consumer, you feel more taken care of. And what I love for the consumers to be able to look at these products and say, all right, well, I feel my hair's dry. It's very clear. Hydrate. Okay. Hydrate. I have frizzy hair. Okay. I have curly hair. Texture. Anti-frizz. Right? So they can go to it, but it performs. And that's the power of a product that's not just taking care of the planet, doing all these things, sulfate free and cruelty free and all that great stuff. It works when it comes to those products.
Right. And so it still holds that high level of Paul Mitchell performance, but you just also get solution driven, clean formulations. And then that, I read that it's the bio-based plastics as well.
Yep. Yeah, so you look at all these things, and those are, 4 in front of you: the gluten-free, cruelty-free, sulfate-free, vegan-friendly, and that's like 4 of 20 things that it is. The bottles are made from majority of sugar cane, which is, it's completely recyclable. The way that it processes O2, the sugar cane allows us to produce more product faster without having to use virgin plastics and damage the forest and damage the environment that way. So all of those things are great, but I know as a consumer, and I know my customers come in and they're like, does my hair look and feel good? Like, as much these things are amazing, if I look like trash, I don't feel like using a product. So that's what I love about that. So the performance. So we have all those categories. We mentioned Hydrate. Hydrate has olive and oat peptide to be able to just put that moisture back into the hair. So what's great about that, and just maybe as a consumer, some people don't quite grasp this, when you deal with anything going into the hair, you're dealing with the molecular structure, which is the size of the molecules going into the hair. So we could have oat peptides, great, but it could just sit on the surface and not get into the hair and do anything long-term. So when we're dealing with a good quality product with sustainably sourced products at the right molecular structure, you get longevity of buildup of that hydration in the hair. So it gets better as time goes on, opposed to, okay, now I shampoo it, that comes off and it goes back on, right? So it's getting better from the inside out.
That's super interesting of, so many for that instant fix or whatever, but this is one that does build up, and it is a long-term use, not something that you have to like switch your shampoo every time you go through a bottle or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think about it like water. Like, we can go get electrolytes and drink Gatorade and do all these different things, but we can drink water and hydrate ourselves because that's what our body needs. And so sometimes we go to things because it's like, oh, that might be great, but when I use this, it's replenishing what the hair needs at that amino acid level and allowing it to feel good from the inside out. Therefore, the cuticle wants to lay down and wants to protect and not lose moisture. So. It's a
Very
great product that way.
interesting. So you
Yeah.
mentioned that Hydrate was for dry hair. Does that also mean like dry fine hair and dry thick hair, or is all dry hair?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I found that I always get a little worried with Hydrate. It's like, oh, is it going to be okay on that fine hair? But this is great across the board. So if you have dry hair, your cuticles open, your body's like, I need moisture in your hair. It's going to be great whether it's fine or coarse. One thing that I do find is that when hair is finer, it needs a little less moisture. So sometimes people don't need to wash their hair as often when they're doing this. They can get maybe a dry shampoo in between. When hair is coarse, they might need to get that moisture in there a little more often. So maybe they shampoo, but they're conditioning those ends a little more frequently. Maybe they don't want to wash their hair, but they get it wet, still condition those ends to pull that through. So yeah, it's great for all hair types.
Good to know. Monique just commented and said, can't wait to try the Clean Beauty. I think you've already sold her just from the first little shampoo conditioner.
Awesome. I love it.
Awesome.
So let's talk about the everyday. Let's jump into everyday for a second.
Now, this is really cool because you don't see too many that list every day. Like, I feel like we're constantly taught nowadays, don't wash your hair every day. Try to get that 2 or 3 times a week wash. So where would this go?
Yeah, that's a great point. So this is using argan oil and aloe vera. And one thing about argan oil is it's more antioxidant. So when you think about every day, our skin is constantly, having challenges. As we get older, we lose elasticity. Our hair does the same thing. It doesn't have quite the same strength. So anything antioxidant is good that way. But when we get into every day, there's a lot of guests that I have coming in the salon that they wash their hair every day because they just can't handle that little bit of dirtiness, the feel of it. And if you have too much for some hair, they're not doing a lot of color, they're not doing a lot of other services. So they don't need the Hydrate. They don't need the Anti-frizz because of the way their hair is. So every day is great. And I love this because it has the added on treatment. So we got an everyday shampoo, everyday conditioner, but when it comes to the treatment is something that can push that next level before maybe they have to jump into Hydrate or jump into more of a stronger treatment. So this is great for that everyday person. They can use the treatment as a little bit of a styler. Okay. So if they're just trying to blow dry it in or let it dry, this is a great product across the board that way.
Interesting. You had mentioned every day that all of the Clean Beauty is still color safe, though, if you do happen to color hair. Okay.
Good. Yep. Yeah. All Clean Beauty is color safe. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good to know.
So let's talk about repair. Jump into repair. So this is, back to that question, describe the condition of your hair to me. As a consumer looking at these products, I know you guys are primarily e-commerce. So someone's searching through the products, they're looking at the benefits, and they're just like, what's my condition of my hair? Well, you can ask yourself, well, do I do color? Do I do lightener? Do I do any of these processes? Do I use heat every single day? There's a good chance that I've created damage within the hair. So if I've done that, I know that repair can be that choice for me. The amount of those things that I do determines how far do I go. Do I need more than just shampoo, conditioner? Do I need to add in the treatment as well? And with this, we're dealing with the amaranth extract and the pea proteins. So these are creating that strength from the amino acid level. Mm-hmm. When those bonds get broken and weakened, we got to replenish them there to truly repair the hair. So that allows us to get in and repair more at that molecular structure level so that we see the buildup of strength in the hair. So I love the repair across the board for anything, blonding, color damage, heat damage. It really gives a great end result.
And so that repair treatment is kind of like the everyday, but just a little bit stronger maybe, or?
Yes and no. So it's a little stronger, but it's also the different breakdown of it. So the pea proteins, the amaranth extract, those are creating that
unique ingredient
focus.
Story.
Yeah, for the damaged brittle hair. So otherwise, the everyday, it's more kind of that everyday wear and tear. right? Some people need to lotion their skin. Some people need to do like a heavy treatment and their skin dries out more, right? That's kind of where we're at.
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. And so after the repair, we're kind of down to one last shampoo conditioner set, and that would be the smooth.
Yeah, so the anti-frizz, and I love anti-frizz. This is very quickly became one of the top sellers within the salon because we have so many people that are dealing with texture of some degree, and usually with texture comes frizz. And if you have moisture in the air, it wants to fly away, that hair, the cuticle opens. So there's a lot of options within texture, right? From a little bit of wave to a really tight curl.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the anti-frizz because we're dealing primarily with almond oil and hyaluronic acid. So this is allowing that cuticle to seal down. It's also getting that moisture in there and keeping that frizz down. If the cuticle wants to open, then that hair is going to stay frizzy. So you have to get the moisture in, you have to get the control of the cuticle. So the shampoo conditioner is a great layout just every day for that person. Usually people that are trying to control their curl and frizz, they're not shampooing every day.
Right.
So if they want to, they can, but this is a great process, whether it's every day, every third day, once a week. But the leave-in treatment is primo. You look like you want to say something, so I'm going to let you say it, and then I'll...
Actually, two things. I love that almond oil hyaluronic acid ingredient story. It reminds me kind of skincare, which I always think skincare is almost like another level of innovation compared to hair care when it comes to ingredient stories. So that's super interesting. Kind of the other thing I wanted to throw out is that anti-frizz is it going to be heavy still, or will it still let, like, I have a natural light curl pattern. Will it help keep the curls bounced, or it's not gonna like weigh them down? Because that is something I find in most anti-frizz is like, okay, well, I went from a light curl to a body wave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a big part of the molecular structure of that. So this is a product that's working from that internal level out. So when you have something that builds up on the hair, it can start to get heavy. So that's what I love about this is it's working on the inside of the hair, so the hair responds the way hair should. That gets the cuticle to lay down so it doesn't feel heavy. Now, of course, we know we can overdo product, not rinse it out well. There's those scenarios. So make sure if you're a customer using it, you're not just like load it on, quick rinse, am I good? Like rinse it out, let the product do what it does. So it is very, very gentle for all of those hair types. I do recommend in general, the finer the hair, so the actual hair strand, the smaller it is, the less density you have, so the less hair per square inch, that you just use less of it. Because it's just like you put one shirt in the washing machine, you don't load the thing up with soap and use every bit of water. You go to delicate and you use a little less soap. You put a full load in, you change your settings around. So the thicker the hair, finer the hair, you just change the amount that you use so you're not overdoing it.
Good to know.
Yeah. So if you're ready, I wanted to show just a little technique kind of using the anti-frizz leave-in treatment that I think has been pretty beneficial across the board. So this is a doll head. It's a pretty medium curl, as you can tell. So what I did was I used the leave-in treatment. I put it through all the hair, and the back here is just a nice kind of wide tooth combed out curl. So with the hair wet and the leave-in treatment, I just kind of combed it and let the curl do what the curl does. On this side, I went through and I kind of controlled some of those curls. And that's what I want to show you, because as a consumer, what happens is we take a product, it's for anti-frizz, it's for curl, and we use it, but maybe we don't have all the little tricks of trying to control. I have a lot of guests who say, Toby, man, my hair is like really frizzy. The curl looks okay, but I got all these like frizz on top and these flyaways and these short hairs. So one thing that—
those moments of it looks gorgeous till I go out in the sun and it all gets reflected off of.
Right, yeah, that little shimmer from behind. It's like, I like your halo. That looks good. So I just want to get this wet back down. I was sitting for a second. So anytime I'm dealing with curl, I like to make sure that the hair is coming from wet to dry.
Yeah.
The more wet that it is, the better off I'm going to be. So the next is I'm going to take my anti-frizz leave-in treatment. I already did product on the rest of the hair, so I'm just going to use a little bit. So you can see there right on my fingertip, about that much. I work it around on my fingers, and I like to get in between my fingers so they work like a comb. I'm not a big fan of getting on the back of my hands unless it's a lot of hair and I'm going to work in there. So I'm going to take that hair and I'm going to work from underneath, and then I'm going to work from on top, and then I'm going to work from the side and then the back. So on each section, I'm hitting all sides of the hair. Work that through. What I like about the leave-in treatment is it gives me, yes, the benefits of the products. So it's, you know, good treatment on the hair, but it also has this little bit of a tack to it that gives me some control. So when we're dealing with curly hair, if we deal with a cream, we're usually dealing with a little bit more control. When we deal with a gel, then we start to get more of that hold factor. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to focus on specific curls. So depending on the size of the curl of the hair, if you're at home, like there's lots of different combs I can use. So you can see how these have different teeth, from really fine to really wide. So think about your curl. The tighter the curl, the tighter the teeth. The looser the curl, the looser the teeth. So this hair is, I would say, a medium curl. So I'm going to use these teeth right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section, and where you would get the frizz up at the top, I'm going to comb that hair in, and then I'm going to take that comb. I want the curl to go away from the face. So I'm just going to put the comb under and give it a twist and allow it to kind of tangle into the comb. And because I have that slip, I can just slowly twist the comb down. And as I come off the hair, it gives me that nice control of the curl, and it locks it in.
That is gorgeous. I'm not going to lie. At first, you were making me nervous wrapping up hair on a comb like that. I was like, I'm pretty sure I was told, don't tangle your comb.
Don't do it. Yeah, right? We've cut many out of people's hair. We're like, oh, no, yeah. So I can take bigger curls. I could gather a couple together like this if I was looking for more defined. So I could bring those together. And then I'm going to have bigger curls at the end to be able to separate. Where on the other side, you saw that I did a little more, fine. I can be really detailed, and I can go in and take small sections. But as a consumer, what I want you to think about, is when I take this comb and I put it into the hair and I twist that around and I start to twist that hair out, what I'm looking at is the direction I want the curl to go. Okay. So yeah, the product is a very big factor in how this hair finishes out and looks. But if I take
being able to get the comb through it like that, I mean, that control and that slip is just amazing.
Yes, and if it's not wet enough, it can tangle very easy, like if you're not careful. But if I take this section and comb it up, and then I start to twist this hair up here, what happens is when this hair falls, I might have a little more volume, but if I'm trying to control a lot of frizz, sometimes I might create a little bit. So depending on how much frizz you have at the scalp or those little flyaways, you might not want to lift too much. You might want to come out a little bit more.
Got it. But it also kind of gives yourself that little bit of grace to incorporate some possible frizz.
Yep. And a lot of times it's just taking the hair that's already in this curl and just defining a few pieces. So you could even do it with your finger. You could take a section out, and instead of using your comb, if the hair is wet, you can just kind of pull this out and then use your finger and kind of twist it into that section. And it's going to still curl. It just won't be quite as controlled or defined. Right. So it's a little bit of a looser. So if you're looking for maybe a little more of separating and having a little more of a
undone.
Yeah. Yep. Sort of a beach wave, sort of. You can kind of use your finger that way. So that's just a great little tip to be able to utilize that product in a great way for that style. I have a lot of guests that use the leave-in, and that's their only styling product.
I was
Like, I love it.
It looks like a definite hero product, a one and done. Everybody loves that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
For sure.
So the last, right, moving on to our stylers, even though
Yeah,
we're
the
using our
newest
treatments.
launches.
Yes. So I think we have those there so you guys can see the picture of them. Starting off with the styling cream. So I know we just have one up, but I like to talk about all three in kind of a parameter. So
Okay.
when, like I did with my guest, describe the condition of your hair to me. A consumer comes in, they look, they're like, my hair's dry, I grab Hydrate. My hair's frizzy, I grab Anti-frizz. But when I look at stylers, I do the same. And I love this because it's very simple. We have people that are looking to control their hair, people that are trying to add volume to their hair, and people that use a lot of heat on their hair. So we have all three of these products all the way through. So I'm going to start with the heat seal, or the heat styling spray. I'm so used to a little old school. Don't worry.
Same thing.
But the heat styling spray. And this is a great one. Like, you can actually, if you want to kind of try out and experiment how it feels, if you take the spray and like spray on the back of one of your hands, and then take your dryer and turn heat on and just put it right on your hand, and then move it when it gets too hot, and then do it on the other hand, and you'll realize just how much protection you get. So you can usually, I mean, I could show you on camera, but you don't know if I'm accurate, right? Like, hey, look at that. It was an hour on one hand with heat protect and 2 seconds on the other. But that's a great way for you as a consumer or a guest to experience and say, I can now experience what that heat protection is like. So this is giving us protection from blow dry all the way through. Once it's dry, once we put the iron on there, I want to apply it damp or wet, and then blow dry, and then use my iron. I don't want to spray this on and then run a hot iron over top of it.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. And then we can go back. So we'll look at the volume. The volume liquid, like, I really love the volume liquid because it's light enough, so you can sort of see here. So it's pretty light. It doesn't have like a good strong tack to it.
No.
So I can work it into the scalp pretty easy. So sometimes I like to take a volume liquid and just get in the scalp for when I blow dry, and I get that lift at the scalp.
Nice lifted blowout.
Yep. And not have to stress about, like, if it does get down towards the ends, that it's too heavy, anything like that. So it's great across the board. I can even use this here, right? So I'm trying to control some of those curls. Well, maybe I'm applying a little more at the scalp. So as it dries, I get a little more volume there. And I'm going in with a diffuser and diffusing the scalp where I've lifted those curls with my finger or with a comb as well.
Wow.
And then the last is the styling cream. So like I said, with cream, we get control with cream. So I really like this because it gives me a wide range across the board. I can use it for, hair that's more coarse, hair that's medium texture, hair that has curl. I'm just looking for a good blow dry. I can kind of flat wrap it to the head to have nice movement, but it's not going to be overpowering, and it's not going to feel like there's a lot of product in the hair.
So it's not like a high hold, it's more like a medium control?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you think clean beauty, it's not going to be anything that's going to be like, hey, that's lacquered on there, right? It's just a nice, good control across the board. You can use a little more if you need to. You could almost actually set the hair with this because you have enough control, or you could blow dry the hair. Yeah. And all three of these products, we're dealing with flaxseed oil and ferulic acid. The acid's giving it that shine and that seal down in the cuticle, where the flaxseed oil is just giving it that ability to be protected throughout the style. The UV protection, all of that's coming into play.
So that way it's still protecting the hair all day long from the natural, sun damage, smog damage, air pollutants in general.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So you got good control. And then remember, that's layering on top of your products from before. So if you're in a really humid area, the reason that hair is going to go frizzy and fly away is because there's not enough moisture on the inside. So that's where you need to make sure you got your leave-in treatments, you're using your proper stuff before you get into your styling. Not
so your
just
hair
like,
doesn't go searching for humidity
exactly,
for hydration.
And I'm just using a lot of hairspray to keep it from leaving, right?
Yes.
It's like, I don't want my kid to run away, so I lock the door. No, like, love him, and maybe he'll stay home, and then I don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
I love how easy and straightforward this line is. I did have a question come in. Would you consider the Clean Beauty, like, I know all of it's color safe, but would it be that extra level of color protection as well? Or would you want to switch maybe to more of a specialized color protection if you're doing like the vibrants, the vivids, those easy fade colors?
Yeah. So anytime you're dealing with a color that fades fast, so a vivid, anything that's a direct dye on the hair, right? So it's not oxidating, or reds fade fast. We're dealing with those colors. Your best scenario is always less shampoo, conditioner, more time in between. That's going to be your number one saver for those.
No matter what the shampoo conditioner is, kind of.
Exactly, because it all lives on the surface. So I can use a shampoo, I could use a co-wash that is, just about kind of pulling some of those oils off the scalp, but not really opening up the cuticle too much. And that's going to kind of be safe in between. But when I go to shampoo and condition, if it's color safe, it's going to be good when I do that. So we have a lot of guests that, they got this bright blue to pink going on, and they're like, I don't want it to fade ever. And I'm like, all right, well, never wash your hair.
Easy as that.
Yeah, but when you do, because we lightened it, and then we put this color on, you need repair. You need moisture, so you need hydrate. So those would be my recommendations to them to make sure they're getting the right thing for when they shampoo and condition. So yes, it's color safe. If you shampoo and condition that type of hair every day, it's going to fade. I haven't met a shampoo and conditioner that doesn't allow the cuticle to open and close to where that can come out. But this will be good for when you shampoo and condition those hairs, as long as you're using the right one for the hair type.
The right one in the right frequency.
Yes.
Another question that came in was, I love doing updos. What would be the best product for polishing curls and styles for like updos in that Clean Beauty line?
Gotcha. So the first thing I would say is make sure that you've got the moisture in. I find that sometimes those ends get dry. So get your Hydrate, shampoo, condition beforehand, so you've locked that moisture in. The Heat Protect is amazing across the board. So you use that from wet to dry, blow dry in, get a good polish on those ends. You're gonna have a lot more shine. And then at the very end, if you kind of want to control a little bit, I would go with a little bit of styling cream. Maybe even a drop of the Anti-frizz leave-in treatment, and just work it all over my hands if I'm just trying to get like some sheen and polish on that last little bit, or to find some curls that are hanging. There you go. But just a little bit of the leave-in.
Yes, a little goes a long ways for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
great question.
For people, including like myself, that I've got like dry curly hair, but I also heat style, but it's also this. Is it something that you are all good to maybe use the Hydrate shampoo, mix it with the repair conditioner because it's lightened, but it's also dry because it's curly? Is there any like favorite cocktail mixed together things that you do?
Yes, it is okay to do all of that. No one's showing up at your door and arresting you. Don't worry. But yeah, I actually love doing that a lot, because sometimes a conditioner, like a repair conditioner, I like added to a Hydrate shampoo. So sometimes for me, like I'll look at hair, it's been through a process. It has damage to it, but I know it needs moisture, and I want the moisture to be in kind of the shampoo portion, because the damage is stronger. Or sometimes it's a little bit damaged, but the dryness is stronger. So I'll go repair shampoo, Hydrate conditioner. So just kind of feeling your hair, knowing, does it have shine normally? Does it want to fly away? Does it feel more dry when I think about it? Well, then that's going to be the final thing I end with, which would be the Hydrate conditioner.
The Hydrate. So whatever, so it's kind of like your number one concern would be the conditioner, but your number two concern would be your shampoo.
Yep, that's how I would approach it. Yeah.
Very cool. I love the Clean Beauty line. It is so beautiful. I love the coloring with it, the ease of use of it. Was there anything else about Clean Beauty that you wanted to throw out before we let you go?
Um, yeah, the last thing I would say is when we look at a brand in general, so we look at Paul Mitchell and then we start to break down Paul Mitchell. When we have a company that is, we started in 1980, so now we're 42 years old. Yeah, 42 years old. And they're still innovative enough to make sure that we're clean and sustainable for what we do, and to create a product that functions in that environment is huge to me as a stylist, as a consumer, as a business owner. So overall, when you guys go out and you buy Clean Beauty, you're not just supporting, hey, cool, I bought Paul Mitchell, I like Paul Mitchell. You're supporting so much more. And for us as stylists, I'm just so grateful that people want to buy a product that is working for them, that supports the planet, supports ourselves, and supports this industry. So that's about all I have to say.
I love it. Thank you so much, Toby. I learned so much about the Clean Beauty. I am going to, next time I actually wash my hair, because it's been a few days at this point, for my curls, I'm definitely going to try the comb trick with the Anti-frizz. And I can't appreciate how much of your time to come here and share with everybody out there these really cool products.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Allison. It's been a pleasure. And I hope that everybody gets to use and try and love Clean Beauty. And thank you for supporting Paul Mitchell.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right. If you love Clean Beauty as much as I do, I highly suggest you check out the Paul Mitchell Clean Beauty. If you have any further questions that we may have missed, go ahead and feel free to comment them down below. I will be checking back all weekend and all month long to answer your questions. Or you can give us a call at the number right below my face. We have all licensed cosmetologists answering our phones that can help you pick out the perfect hair care product for your needs. Remember, you have beauty care choices, and be choosy about what you use. Thanks, and have a wonderful weekend.